All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Saturday, May 8th. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally here today, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And despite a pretty rough past couple of days on that Patreon page, we're still hitting at 63% in our last 16 NBA tier package picks on that Patreon site. And the good news is this: we have another NBA tier package pick going off today. Now, we've also improved to 12-3 in our last 15 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon page as well. That's just $2.99. We currently have over 1,150 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that page is in the description section below. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. With that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here. A couple important matchups here today, including the one we're going to start off with. I'm talking about the Wizards versus the Pacers, 7 p.m. Eastern start time. The Washington Wizards are the 3.5-point favorite on the road. Totals 247. If you like the Pacers on the money line, they're plus 140 for an upset win. Now, the Pacers do play their worst basketball at home. They're currently just 12-20 straight up at the Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and they successfully covered the point spread in only 28% of those ball games. Now, one of the Pacers' biggest problems is their inability to rebound. They're currently in the bottom three in the NBA in both offensive and defensive rebounding at home. Now, Brogdon, Lamb, and Sumner, they're all questionable. Sampson is out. They're taking on a Washington team who's been amongst the best covering teams in the league over the past month or so. The Wizards have successfully covered the point spread in their last 6 straight. They're also 16-3 against the number in their last 19 as well. Now, the Wizards are one of the most prolific scoring teams in the association right now. They're in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 5 in scoring on average per game. Washington is currently averaging nearly 117 points a night. Now, Bradley Beal is scoring over 31 points per contest, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Russell Westbrook's averaging 21, 11, and 11 thus far in the season, so it looks like he should comfortably close out the regular season averaging a triple-double. Now, the Wizards also rank in the top 10 in the NBA in offensive rebounding. When it comes to the total in this one, Washington's last 4 straight all got over the line. They also went 7-2 to the over in their last 9 ball games as well. Meanwhile, Indiana saw 7 out of their last 9 get over the total themselves, 41-25 to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Washington Wizards minus 3.5 and the over 247. Next ball game, it is going to be Pistons versus the Sixers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip. The Sixers are minus 10.5, totals 218. Now, it does look like the Sixers are going to play their starters in this one. Really want to lock up that number 1 seed with only a few games left. But they definitely played their best basketball at the Wells Fargo Center this year. 26-7 straight up as the home team. 61% against the number in those home games. They're in the top 3 in home defensive field goal percentage, and they allowed just 108 points per contest in South Philly. Now, Joel Embiid, is scoring over 29 points a game, 10 rebounds, couple assists for the process. Meanwhile, Tobias Harris is scoring over 19.5 points per contest himself, 6 boards and 3 assists a game for Toby. Philadelphia is currently on a 7-game winning streak, and they successfully covered the number in 5 of those ball games. They're taking on a Detroit squad who lost 7 out of their last 9. And they currently have the worst record in the Eastern Conference. They're currently just 20-47 overall for the year, and that's good for a win percentage of just .299. Now, the Pistons have been victorious in only 7 of 35 road games this season, and they're averaging just 107 points a game. Jackson, Joseph, Ellington, Diallo, and Grant, they're all on the injury report here today. Meanwhile, Smith and Magruder, they're still on the report as well. And when it comes to the total on this one, Detroit's last 2 straight stayed under the line, 6-2 to the under in their last 8. Meanwhile, the Sixers saw 5 out of their last 8 stay under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Philadelphia 76ers minus 10.5 and the under 218. Next contest, it is going to be Grizzlies versus the Raptors, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time. The Memphis Grizzlies are minus 5, totals 227. Now, Memphis is currently the 9th seed in the West, just a half a game back of the 8th place Warriors in the standings. But the good news for Memphis backers is that they played their best basketball on the road. And as a matter of fact, this Memphis team has covered the number in 62% of their road games, and they also rank in the top 5 in the NBA in road scoring. The Grizzlies are averaging almost 118 points a game when they travel. Ja Morant scoring 19 points a game, 3 rebounds, 7 assists for the point guard. Meanwhile, Dillon Brooks is scoring nearly 17 points a night himself, 2 rebounds, couple assists for Brooks. Now, the Grizzlies are also in the top 5 in the NBA in road offensive field goal percentage, and they're also in the top 5 in road offensive rebounding. Now, they're taking on a Toronto club who lost 6 out of their last 8 ball games, and they officially find themselves 13 games below 500. Kyle Lowry's out, Freddie VanVleet won't play either, and Toronto fans also are not going to see the efforts of OG Anunoby here tonight either. He's currently battling a calf injury. But regardless of that, the Raptors somehow, even with their starters in and completely healthy, the Raptors have been one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. They're in the bottom 3 in offensive rebounding, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. When it comes to the number in this one, Toronto's going 6-3 to the under in their last 9 ball games, throwing out the Washington contest. The Raptors are also 4-1 to the under in their last 5 at the Amalie Arena. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies have gone 60% to the under in their last 10 ball games themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Memphis Grizzlies minus 5 and the under 227. Next ball game, getting to that West Coast 10 o'clock slate. I'm talking about the Thunder versus the Warriors, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Golden State Warriors are minus 14 at home, totals 223. But despite this absurdly large number, Golden State has played their best basketball at the Chase Center this season. They're currently 20-11 straight up as the home team. And they're in the top 10 in home scoring. Now, the Warriors are currently in 8th place in the West with just a couple more games to go. So it looks like they're at least a shoe-in here for a play-in game. And no surprise here, they're in the top 10 in the league in shooting the 3-ball at home. I mean, when you got a guy named Steph Curry on your team, you're probably going to rank pretty high in that category. And as a matter of fact, Steph Curry is drilling 43% of his three-pointers. He's good for nearly 32 points a night, along with 5.5 rebounds and 5 assists. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins is scoring 18 points a game himself, 4 rebounds, couple assists for the forward. Meanwhile, on the defensive end of the court, we're looking at a Warriors team who ranks in the top 3 in the NBA in defensive field goal percentage. Now, they're taking on a Thunder team who lost their last 5 straight, and they also dropped 19 out of their last 20. They've been absolutely horrible. Muscala and Pokusevski are out. Lou Dort is questionable. OKC's currently 25 games below 500, and they rank in the bottom 3 in scoring on average per game on the road. OKC shooting just 33% from beyond the arc when they travel, and they're scoring just 104 points a game in that same category. Now, total-wise, OKC did see contests with Phoenix, Boston, Washington, and Indiana get over the number here recently. Meanwhile, the Warriors saw games with Minnesota and Dallas get over the line recently themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Golden State Warriors minus 14 and the over 223. Next contest, it is going to be Spurs versus the Blazers, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Portland Trailblazers are minus 6, totals 231. Despite their recent success here, Portland's failed to cover the number in 2 out of their last 3 ball games, and one of those was an outright loss to Atlanta. Now, Portland has also done a pretty bad job covering the number at the Moda Center. They've gotten the job done against the spread in just 13 out of 33 home games, and that's good for just 39% in that category. Now, the Blazers have had significant issues on the defensive end of the court this year. They're in the bottom 5 in defensive field goal percentage, bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. Now, the Blazers give up nearly 115 points per contest. They're taking on a San Antonio team who's been pretty good against the point spread here recently. They're 7-2 against the spread in their last 9, 23-10 against the number in their 33 road games. DeMar DeRozan scoring 21.5 points per contest, 4 rebounds, 7 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, DeJounte Murray is averaging 15 points a game himself, 7 rebounds, 5 assists for Murray. San Antonio is in the top 5 in defending the 3-ball on the road. When it comes to the number in this one, 2 out of San Antonio's last 3 stayed under the posted total. 5-1 to the under in their last 6 meetings with a Western Conference opponent. Meanwhile, the Blazers saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the line themselves, 60% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the San Antonio Spurs plus 6 and the under 231. Next contest, it is going to be Rockets versus the Jazz, 10 p.m. Eastern start time. The Utah Jazz are minus 15, numbers 226.5. Now, Utah is a game ahead of Phoenix for the number 1 seed in the West. They've successfully covered the point spread in their last 3 straight, and they also find themselves in the middle of a 4-game winning streak. Now, Utah's posted a record of 30-4 straight up on their home court. They currently lead the NBA defensively in home points allowed. They give up just 103 points a game at the Vivint Smart Home Arena. Jordan Clarkson's averaging nearly 18 points a game off the bench, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Bogdan Bogdanovic is averaging over 16.5 points a game himself, along with 3 rebounds. Now, Utah ranks first in the NBA in home defensive field goal percentage, and they're holding their opponents to just 32% shooting from beyond the arc on their home court. Now, they're taking on a Houston team who has the worst record in the NBA, and they literally have nobody playing here tonight. Gordon and Wood are out. Bradley, Brown, Wilson, Porter, and Tate, they're all listed as questionable. And, of course, Wall, Exum, and Nwaba, they've been all out for the season. Hello?
Hi, I'm running to try and get my nails fixed quick.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Nail day.
Just
Got getting her nails done.
Just 2.
How often are you getting your nails done now?
Once a month.
Once a month, that's it.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
No.
Not too bad.
Okay, I love you.
All right, love you. Have a good day. All right, where are we at here, guys? Oh, injuries, yeah. Wall, Exum, and Nwaba, they've been out for the season. So, I mean, these guys have been banged up all year long. Houston's last in the NBA in shooting the 3-ball, last in defensive rebounding. When it comes to the total on this one, Houston's last 3 straight all got over the number. 18-14 to the over when they travel. Meanwhile, the Jazz are 4-2 to the over in their last 6 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Utah Jazz minus 15 and the over 226.5. With that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Nets versus the Nuggets. Certainly some important implications in this one. 10 p.m. Eastern tip-off. The Brooklyn Nets are minus 4 on the road. Totals 230.5. And if you like the Nuggets in an upset victory on their home court, they're plus 155 for some money line cash. Now, the Nuggets are just 1 game back of the 3rd place Clippers in the Western Conference standings. They've also been victorious in 7 out of their last 10 ball games, and they rank in the top 5 in home scoring. As a matter of fact, the Nuggets have been really good at the Ball Arena this year. They're 25-10 straight up as the official home team. Nikola Jokic is scoring 26 points a game, 10 boards, 8.5 assists for the Joker. Meanwhile, Michael Porter Jr. is scoring 19 points a game himself, along with 7.5 rebounds. The Nuggets are currently the best defensive rebounding team in the association. They rank first in the NBA in that particular category. They're taking on a Brooklyn squad who's right in the middle of a 4-game losing streak. They've also played consistently poor on the defensive end of the court this season. They're in the bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball on the road, bottom 5 in road points allowed. Now, the Nets give up 117 points a night when they travel. When it comes to the scoring in this one, Brooklyn is 19 and 15 to the over when they travel. They also saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Denver get over the line. Meanwhile, the Nuggets are 21 and 14 to the over at the Ball Arena. I'm going to lean toward the Denver Nuggets +4 and the over 230.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Washington -3.5 over 247. Philadelphia -10.5 under 218. Memphis Grizzlies -5 under 227. Golden State Warriors -14 over 223. San Antonio +6 under 231. Utah Jazz -15 over 226 and a hook. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are hitting at 63% in our last 16 NBA tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also 12 and 3 in our last 15 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon page as well. I'm going to lean toward the Denver Nuggets +4 and the over 230.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for some shout outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Myron Rigg, Charles Garrity, Blaine Medvick, Maurice Patton, Matt McPeak, Rawan Sumraw, Chris Brown, Drake Lawson, King Yaya, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my good friend, David Parks. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a package here today, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of May. But most importantly here, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.